Good morning, my name's Tristan Lowe. Welcome to the Over 40s Fitness Podcast. Thanks for joining me again. Don't be alarmed by the picture. Today we're going to talk about a fitness aspect which I've tried myself, and I encourage other people to try it as well. One pair of climbing shoes and one ice axe, okay, different types. Let's start, all right? Okay, so here's one of my tools of one of the fitness things that I got into, and that's climbing. And this particular brand is the La Sportiva brand, which is quite a well-known, well-respected, and in some cases a reassuringly expensive brand of climbing footwear. This is for indoor climbing, and I hope that my feet aren't going to grow at my age, so these will last me the next 10 years at least, because I only do it sporadically. All right, indoor climbing is something we can find in a lot of our town centres, our city centres. Go on Google, go on the internet, ask a friend, and look where your local indoor climbing wall is. And of course, there's different climbing centres. Some are for the elite indoor climbers, some are for beginners, and some, the big ones, like one I've been to in Nottingham, they've got different types of walls for different levels, boys and girls, men and women. All right, so climbing takes a lot of different aspects of fitness out of our bodies. It takes strength, flexibility, balance, proprioception, mobility, cardiovascular fitness, and also how to control our heart rate, or how to control our own nervous system, or at least work on controlling it as we ascend higher and higher and do more difficult climbs. Now there's different types of climbs. There's straight walls, overhangs, there's boulders where you move generally across and up and down rather than just straight up, and each one poses its own difficulties and also enjoyment. And actually indoor climbing doesn't need to be that expensive either. You can hire shoes, you can hire the equipment, you can pay for an instructor to teach you the basics. And once you get the idea of you're going to go up and you're going to be relatively safe because you're in a harness or you're attached to a rope that's built into a pulley system, or the rope that you're attached to is attached to the carabiners with your climbing professional, it's relatively safe. Nothing's 100% safe, but relatively safe. And of course, you can start low and work your way up. And I guarantee you, even if you're young, your fingers, hands, forearms, and other parts of your body will ache that same day, if not the next day, and the day after your first foray into indoor climbing. So the first thing to do is to find out where to go, when it's open, have they got instructors there, what its safety record's like, and try it out. It's great fun as well, and it needn't be. And of course, because it's indoor, it's not really weather permitting at all, so you can go any time of the year as long as it's open. All right, now when you actually learn the basics of indoor climbing, your instructors, a professional instructor, will try to get you to work harder and take harder steps, and smaller handholds and go up higher. What they won't do is push you so hard that you don't want to come back, because an indoor climbing centre is essentially a business. They want you to come back. So they're not going to overcharge you. They're not going to push you or force you into doing something that is dangerous and out of your remit. That what they want to do is to improve your technique and your confidence without being overconfident, and get you to enjoy it. So you bring other people as well. Yeah. So you can do it on your own, in pairs, part of a group, with your family, your friends. Crikey, if it's a stag do or hen do, go on an indoor climbing. Don't just keep going paintballing. All right, so you don't need to buy your shoes. Yeah, I bought these because I'm going to do it. I've done it more than once, and I'll do it again. So I don't need to think about have they got my shoe size there. And ordinarily you climb with your bare feet in the shoes for better grip and just for hygienic reasons. So there you go. And that's the particular brand there. These are the La Sportivas. And so if you do get your own pair, you can buy them secondhand on eBay or something like that. But generally, when they have been worn by someone else, and 9 times out of 10, they would have had bare feet in it. So think about the hygiene aspects as well. And if you progress from that and you become part of a team, great, all good for you. Remember, if you want to do it, don't wait for your friend or your work colleague to join you. If they don't want to do it, then great, you go on your own. You start on your own, lead by example, and seek out a professional. Yeah, always seek a professional in their field for the best training or the best advice, or at least to get your foot on the rung or the ladder. No pun intended. All right, so that's the type indoor climbing. Now, the other type, of course, there's plenty. All right, why do we need this axe? This is an ice axe. It's an Italian brand called Grivel. and I've used it on a couple of occasions in France and Spain. I've still kept it in good nick, so if I ever want to use it again, I'm good. If I ever want to sell it, it will sell because it's a decent brand. All right, ice axes are simply for keeping you alive and safe. Yeah, we use the ice axe to dig into the ice or dig into the snow. You have to hold it a particular way, so if you was to fall over, the sharp point doesn't come back in you and go through the jugular or through the neck or pierce you through the throat or even through the heart. You have to sort of hold it a certain way when you're walking. And of course, this is the end that we can use for breaking ice or breaking sharp objects around us. So you hold it a certain way, you use it a certain way. There's different techniques, and of course, an experienced professional mountain climber and coach will teach you how to use these. Okay, and for those of you who have done it before, or those of you who don't know anything about it, there's another reason they have these as well. They have what's called a self-arrest technique, where essentially if you were to slip and fall on a gradient, a steep gradient, which would ordinarily be in the snow or the ice, which would mean you're going to keep falling unless you do something about it, they teach you how to flip onto your front safely in all different techniques. That'll be from standing up, sat down, forwards, backwards, upside down, disorientated. I've practiced that. It's not as easy as it looks. Yeah, because you're going to be in a cold environment. You could be backwards, upside down, flipping over. The key is to get yourself onto your front and dig this ice axe away from you into the ice, to drag with your feet in the air to slow that fall down. Because if you don't, the high probability is that you're going to fall down and keep going down the snow or ice, and eventually, at the very best, you're going to hit some thick snow and just get wet, cold and uncomfortable. At the very worst, you're going to hit a rock and break your neck or break your spine, and even worse than that, you're not going to stop that quick and you're going to be killed at the bottom of a mountain. And it hasn't got to be a high mountain, it could be a 30-foot drop. If you hit something solid, even if you've got a helmet on, the high probability is you're paralysed or you're gone. So you have to learn how to use these properly. Don't just go on YouTube and think that's enough. Spend time with professionals who do it for a living. Don't just see something on YouTube and think, I've got it now. That's okay to practice in your garden, but not when you're out in the mountains. You're essentially in bandit country. All right, so ice climbing is not just for professionals, it's also for amateurs. I've tried it myself. It is physically difficult and it's challenging, but once you've done it and you're safe and you go home at the end of the day and tell your friends and family, it's good. You think, yeah, I was out of my comfort zone there. You've got all your gear on, your footwear on, you're outside in an environment that you're not used to, even if you've tried it before. So there's different aspects of climbing. Of course, with the advent of your streaming channels and television and YouTube, we get to see a lot of the world's best climbers do the free solo climbing, where they climb up incredibly difficult, near impossible walls with just hands and feet, and no ropes and no axes. It's just hands and feet. And if you watch them, I guarantee you, watch one on your high definition TV screen of those death-defying climbs that they do up El Capitan in America, or mountains in Europe, or even higher in Asia, and all those that climb up the buildings. And you watch that without getting sweaty palms or your heart rate increasing, I'll be surprised, especially if you're not used to it or you haven't watched something like that before. So you think about it, you've got the tools of the trade, and these are just a basic idea. Indoor climbing on walls, outdoor climbing with ice axes, they both need instruction. Now, you need to have, again, those different elements of fitness to do something like this. So, fitness doesn't mean that you're a gym member. Anyone can go and join a gym or a leisure centre. You can join them nowadays without even going. That doesn't mean to say you're fit. It doesn't mean to say that you're physically able. Clearly, the older we get, all right, so to learn something like climbing, indoor, outdoor, is ordinarily more challenging because we've got less muscle. Quite often we're heavier. We are more cautious and careful with our decisions about whether we take on a physical challenge like that, irrespective of whether it's indoors or outdoors, because the consequences are exacerbated because we're wiser and we're older, and we know that a bad injury could have detrimental effects for the rest of our life. And if you're 40 years old, you're probably halfway through your life or just under, and you don't want that shortening. But it's never too late to even have a go and try. People throw themselves out of perfectly good airplanes with parachutes with a complete stranger. the guy that's the parachute instructor. Yes, he's professional. Yes, he's experienced. He's done it 100 times, 1,000 times, but he's a total, unknown. So for someone to pay their money and getting an airplane and jump out with a guy who's a parachutist, professional, and they're attached to him, so their life is 100% or 99% in the hands of that professional instructor that they've only met an hour or two prior to that. They know nothing about him at all, yeah, and yet they're willing to do it. So put that into perspective then. Go to your local climbing club and spend an hour or two there. You could have one 10 minutes from where you live and still be back in time to cook dinner, yeah, or watch TV or go back to work. So there you go. That's another way of getting into fitness. If you don't want to go and join a gym, a leisure centre, you don't want to take up tennis, golf, swimming, weightlifting, try climbing. And of course, just remember though, you're doing it for the enjoyment first and the fitness and the physical challenges second. Yeah, if you get so wrapped up in the physical challenge of it and the fitness of it, you won't enjoy it as much. So yeah, learn something, try it. And of course, the other benefit is, whilst you're climbing, your mind's not on other stuff. It's not on something that's a problem at work, a problem at home, a problem out in your neighbourhood, or people that are, knee deep in political problems as well. Because whilst you're climbing, they're not important. What's important is you put your foot where it needs to be. Yep, with one of these, or you put your ISAP near it where it needs to be. Excuse me. So there you go. That's today. Fitness, another discussion. It will keep you lean, fit, strong, and also as well, what it will do, it will stimulate your mind to such a degree that the next day or the following day, when someone says they had a really physically difficult weekend because they did some gardening or they walked the dog or they had to wash their own car or clean their own bed sheets, that's not difficult. What is difficult and challenging is climbing. Okay, so try it. Give us your thoughts on it. I'm all ears. Again, the podcast is the Over 40s Fitness Podcast with me, Tristan Lowe. Please like, subscribe, and share. If there's anything here that is of use to you, then feel free to comment on my channel. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.